feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, what's up? I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a live edition of Bearing Down and Greenhound right here, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the East Coast from Jacksonville, Florida. I am your host, down in the Playmaker Silence here. Good to be live for once. A lot to get into. Week 3 took place in college football. We had upset, we had surprises, surprising teams struggling. A lot took place in week 3, but week 4 has a juicy slate for you, and it's going to get nasty. We're gonna find out about some teams in week 4 this weekend. But but you know how I roll. I gotta go what I gotta do first, which is the 2 minute drill. And to kick off the 2 minute drill, ladies and gentlemen, we got a couple of injuries to talk about. The Georgia's right tackle, Amari's Mims, set to have ankle surgery. He's gonna be out for a while. I don't I don't think it's season ending, but he's gonna be out for a while. They're gonna be missing out on that Georgia line, especially a Georgia team that has been struggling as of lately. And we will see why when I get to the Gridiron Roundup. Nevertheless, they still the number 1 team in the nation, but it is a big blow to their offensive line right there. Also, sticking in the South, but not particularly in the Southeastern Conference, let's go to FAU, Florida Atlantic University. Quarterback Casey Thompson out for the season with ACL and meniscus tear. Darn shame. Transfer from Texas. Played for Texas a year ago. Transferred to UA, FAU, and sad to see a player to get injured just 3 weeks into the season, and it is a shame that it has come down to that. But pray for the full recovery for Casey Thompson and see him back next season. Moving right along, as I like to do. Mel Tucker, other motives at play in Michigan State's decision, which is quite interesting here because Michigan State came out and they told Mel Tucker that they have the intent of firing him at this moment in time. So interesting to see he's been accused of sexual assault. They are looking into it. Something tells me they probably found something that's going to fire him or something that's a little questionable. I don't know the full story, but it's something a little questionable. They give him an opportunity to explain himself or give a reason to not fire him. But we shall see how that goes because it's more likely he's going to get fired. That's what it looks like. It looks like he's going to get fired. I'm gonna keep it plain and simple for you. It looks like Mel Tucker's gonna get fired. They're gonna get a new coach, and this is difficult time for Michigan State because they are at the real stretch of their season because they just played Washington last week and got blown the hell out in at home in East Lansing, Michigan. This week, if I remember correctly, I think you're in the Big Ten showdown. You got Maryland coming in who is undefeated. That game is 3:30 on ABC. That is not on the campus tour slate, so that's not going to be easy. Maryland's a touchdown and a half favorite in that game already, and it's only Wednesday. So rough times in the state of Michigan for the Spartans over there, but we shall see what this going in. But let me give you some details of what's going on here. Let's go. Let's dive into the article real quick. Says here, suspended Michigan State football coach Mel Tucker responded Tuesday to the school notion that it intends to fire him for cause, saying in the statement that other motives are at play, and there has been a bias against him throughout the process. After getting notified Monday of the school's intent to fire him, Tucker was given 7 days per his contract to respond to to the notification in the wake of a pending sexual misconduct case brought by Brianna Tracy, a sexual assault or awareness speaker, and took a statement to ESPN on Tuesday morning. He claimed his firing is a miscarriage of justice and came because of Mrs. Tracy's improper, improper public disclosure of the entire 1,200-page investigation filed regarding her baseless complaint against me. He says, quote, let's be clear. I don't believe MSU plans to fire me, but I admitted to an entire consensual private relationship with another adult who gave one presentation at Michigan State at my behest over 2 years ago. Close quote. This is, I mean, if they tend to fire you, they found something that they didn't like. What they found, we may not never know. But Mel Tucker said this is miscarriage of justice. This is wrongdoing, and it's been that way since this thing came out. But we shall see. All right, we shall see. Now let's get to the real topic. Let's get to one of the two real topics. This week we have Ole Miss in Alabama, which I'll be previewing in our campus tour. But here's what we got going on here. First up, Jalen Merrill named Alabama starting cornerback ahead of SEC opener. That's one problem right there. Then you have Lane Kiffin double downs on who called the defensive plays last weekend when the Crimson Tide struggled to beat South Florida. I will get to that in our next segment. Here's a couple of things here. This is the first time I have seen Nick Saban not know what to do at quarterback. This is literally the first time I seen Nick Saban do not know what to do at quarterback. He played Ty Simpson. I forgot the other quarterback name, Tyler something. I can't think of the other name. And they didn't look good against South Florida. And Nick Saban is searching for answers. Nick Saban is literally searching for answers at the quarterback position. And it amazes me of how this is happening to arguably the best coach to ever coach college football. Tyler Buchnick and Ty Simpson. You just don't know. He has no idea. He has no idea. And then to add on it, one of your former assistants is telling the world who is calling the plays, who's calling the defensive plays. Because it don't look like the defensive coordinator was calling the plays against South Florida. It looked like somebody else was calling the defensive plays against South Florida. Nick Saban had to crush that down. Like the defensive coordinator is the defensive coordinator. He has all the responsibility. We just did something a little different going into the game. But he was calling the plays. This is getting interesting with this game coming up this week. I'm gonna get to more of this when we get to our campus tour to preview that game. But now here we go. This is what we really need to talk about right here. Colorado State, Colorado drew late night record of 9.3 million viewers on ESPN. That was the 10 o'clock game past Saturday after Florida and Tennessee took place at 7. The game didn't end until about 2:30, 3 o'clock a.m. in the morning, Sunday, because they went into 2 overtimes. I'll recap the whole game in the gridiron roundup. Great job by both teams. Very competitive game. Great job. Now, one of the main stories out of there, as you can see on the right side, those of you who are watching on YouTube, and by the way, we are live on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So, those of you who are watching, appreciate it. Now, here's what we have going on here. Because Travis Hunter took a cheap shot. Well, he took a cheap shot. I'm not going to recap the game, but we're going to talk about he took a cheap shot, okay? The guy that hit him, cheap shot at him. I don't care what y'all say. That was a cheap shot. There's no I have seen this play. I seen it live when it happened, first of all. I seen the replay and I seen the highlights like probably 20 times. Henry Blackman is the safety for Colorado State. You cheap shot at Travis Hunter. Okay? So let's call it what it is. You cheap shot at him. Now, this ain't nothing now to most of my brothers that play football. I seen all you posters and all that. Now, we have seen cheap shots taking place in football over the years. It's nothing new, especially in rivalry games, which is the Buffaloes and the Rams are in-state rivalries. This is a rivalry game. But you took a cheap shot. You literally took a cheap shot at him. And with that cheap shot, you lacerated one of his lungs. Now he's out for 3 weeks. We're talking Oregon this week, USC next week, and at Arizona State. Now you cheap shot that man, and you definitely cheap shot. I don't care what anybody said. That was a cheap shot. Now, should he been thrown out the game? Should he be suspended? All that. mm, I won't go that far. I wouldn't go that far because there's been plenty of hits. Yet now we have seen people get thrown for targeting and people getting in trouble for less than what he did. But nevertheless, the game of football in nature is violent. Okay, football in nature is already violent. Now we don't want to see cheap shots like that. Okay, because first of all, before you even got to Travis Hunter, the ball landed past you on the ground. Travis Hunter is out of bounds and you still hit him. That's what makes it a cheap shot. The play was done. Nobody had an opportunity to catch that ball. The ball was already hit the ground, and then you had to go around your teammate to hit Travis Hunter. So you took a cheap shot. They just call it what it is. He took a cheap shot. He did not have to do that. But he wanted to send a message. Which who doesn't want to send a message in a referee game? It has happened plenty of times. This is college football here. But you took a cheap shot, which is uncalled for. Now you got flagged for a 15-yard penalty, but people wanted you thrown out of the game. People want you suspended for 3 games because Travis Hunter's finna miss 3 games. We can't set that precedent yet. That precedent cannot be set yet. If you're gonna set that precedent, it has to be like super egregious. I'm like literally like nothing's going on. The play is over, and you just come out of nowhere and you cold cock another player, launch at him and drill him in the head or spear him to the ground when the play's already over. Then we can talk about, oh yeah, you need to get kicked out, you need to be suspended, you need severe punishment. This he hit him. He threw a shoulder into the chest area, He threw a shoulder, cheap shot him. He cheap shot him, but it wasn't, How can I put this? He did it with intent. He did it with intent. I'll say he didn't do it with malice intent. He did it intentionally, but he didn't do it with malice. He ain't wanna. He ain't wanna like really seriously injure him. He just wanted to send a message. We all been there before. We all know what this is. He wanted to send a message, which he did. Travis Hunter's out for 3 weeks. Now here's the real issue though, because this is where I really want to get to. This is where I get unhappy with. Because the fact that Coach Deion Sanders has to come out and condone death threats to the young man is ridiculous. First of all, whoever sent his number out to the universe and his address out to the universe, find them and out and either beat they behind or arrest them, do something. Because that is cruel as hell. What y'all doing is worse than what he did to Travis Hunter. He out here and his family's death threats? Really? We sending death threats? Y'all don't lost y'all goddamn mind. Death threats. What is wrong with y'all? This is a kid, and y'all have to make Coach Prime come out on a press conference to say what he had to say to condone this, because he did not. I don't care what happens. You don't send death threats to a college player. That's just wrong and outrageous. What is wrong with y'all in America? This is not what you're supposed to do. You want to be mad at him because he took a cheap shot at Travis? Be mad. But to the point where y'all sending death threats, y'all lost y'all goddamn mind. What the hell is wrong with y'all? And now I have to sit here and read this article that Coach Prime, because Coach Prime, I'm with Coach Prime. I lost y'all goddamn mind. Colorado coach Deion Sanders condoned the recent death threats against Henry Blackman in the wake of the Colorado State defensive backs illegal hit Saturday on Buffalo star Travis Hunter. Coach Prime says, quote, Henry Blackman's a good player who played a phenomenal game. He made a tremendous hit on Travis on the sideline. You could call it dirty. You could call it he was just playing a game of football. But whatever it was, it doesn't constitute that he should receive death threats. That's still that this is still a young man trying to make it in life. A guy that's trying to live his dream and hopefully graduate with honors or degree. Committed to excellence and go to the NFL. He does not deserve death threats over a game. Over a game. Y'all have lost your ever loving mind threatening a young college athlete. He made a hit. It was a cheap shot, but he did not sit here and end the man career. He didn't do nothing toward ending his career. He didn't do anything to intentionally bury the man's career with a hit. But y'all sending death threats. Coach Prime also went on, it's not in the article, but he said he's forgiven him. The team has forgiven him. Even Travis Hunter has forgiven him. So those of you who send death threats, y'all need to send an apology to him. I want this is what I want. When death threats are received, and when the police find out who sent death threats, they should make them send an apology. If you bold enough to send a death threat, you bold enough to write an apology and send it right back to that same address with your name on it. Because you have no business in sending death threats. Now we're gonna take a break because that pissed me off. We'll be back. The Playmakerz blog is sponsored by Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus, mountains of entertainment. So much to stream. From shows and movies you can only catch here on Paramount Plus, whether it be from CBS, BET, Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, and so much more. The new home of Showtime. Watch Showtime original series, movies, and sports when you sign up for Paramount Plus with Showtime. Catch exclusive originals from Paramount Plus such as Star Trek, Strange Wars, The Family Stallones, Halo, and so much more. You also can stream live sports like NFL on CBS, the UEFA Champions League, the Masters, and the SEC on CBS. Paramount Plus, you can stream up to 3 devices when you create an account. So Paramount Plus plan starts at $5.99. If you hit that link below, you can get a free trial. Paramount Plus, mountains of entertainment. And welcome back to Bearing Down the Gridiron, ladies and gentlemen. We did our 2 minute drill. Had to get that off my chest because y'all sending death threats. That don't make sense. Y'all don't send threats to no college athlete. I don't care what he did. Okay, he hit Travis Hunter. It was a cheap shot, but you don't send death threats. But we got that out the way now. Now that we got that out the way, this do go gridiron roundup from week 3. This week I'm doing a little bit different for the gridiron round. I'm doing something a little different at this time because we had a lot going on in week 3. So first up, as you can see, those of you who are watching us either on YouTube, Facebook, X, or Twitter, whichever one you want to call it, and LinkedIn, close calls. Ooh, you see? Oh, top teams were scared last week, but they survived. Let's take a look at what teams I'm talking about here. Florida State. Ooh, they went to Boston College and they escaped. Oh, they did. They escaped. Oh my gosh. 31-29 with Boston College Eagles. It took a penalty on the Boston College defense for Florida State to win that game. A penalty. And it was third down. Wow. Third down, you got to stop, but a face mask call in the game and in any chance for a comeback. Man. Florida State escaped. Speaking of aforementioned Alabama, they went down to Tampa to take on South Florida. 17-3? 17-3? Really? This is Nick Saban playing the other 2 quarterbacks, and they looked terrible against the South Florida Bulls. Usually when South Florida has to face Alabama, it's an ass whooping coming, and not in Tampa this past weekend. They was in a fight, and they got away with a 14-point victory. When they scored 17 points against South Florida. Oh my gosh. The number one team in back-to-back reigning defending champion, the Georgia Bulldogs. That first half, a lot of Bulldog fans work because that first half looked it ugly. Looked it very ugly. Second half, Georgia, I guess they woke up in the second half and were able to dominate the game from there, winning 24-14 over South Carolina. Now, Texas, ladies and gentlemen, Texas. Y'all see the score. Don't get fooled by that score because of Texas. Man, you know what? This is the breakdown of the other games between Florida State and Boston College, Alabama. But now I need to get to Texas. Because look at here. You see the fourth quarter. That's how Texas won by that much. The first three quarters, it was 10-10 going to the fourth quarter. Literally. Tie game going to the fourth quarter. And coming off the big win in Tuscaloosa, you went to Tuscaloosa. You dominated Alabama. The score don't indicate that you dominated Alabama, but you dominated Alabama. You beat them by 10. I can't remember the last time Nick Saban lost by double digits at home in Tuscaloosa to a team. But you did that, and then you come out and you play against Wyoming, and it took you to the fourth quarter to pull away. The fourth quarter. You have to score 21 points to make it look decent. Like you did what you're supposed to have done. That is not a good look for Texas, okay? Not a good look. But next week, if Texas is really back, we will find out next week. Not this week, but next week. Because that's one of the games on the slate next week. But I'm not going to tell you who, but next week, we're going to find out if Texas is really back next week. But this right here, that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. And then the aforementioned Colorado State Colorado game. Great game, fabulous game, double overtime. We all talk about the Travis Hunter hit and whatnot. But man, that was a tremendous game if you was able to watch it. 43-35. The Buffaloes were down 11 in the fourth quarter. Came back, sent it to overtime, and they took care of it in double overtime. Good win for the Buffaloes. Good win to stay unbeaten and avoid a big scare. All right. Those were our close calls, ladies and gentlemen, from week 3. Oh, but we had some surprising upsets in week 3. When I say surprising upsets, I mean games we weren't even paying attention to because we just knew what was going to happen. But nevertheless, it went the other way. And I mean, did it go the other way? I mean, so does the Cyclones really suck this bad to where they can only score 7 points against Ohio? We ain't saying Ohio State. We saying Ohio. Not the Buckeyes, the Bobcats. And the Cyclones can only score 7. And they lose 7-10. Really? Is the Cyclones really that bad this year? Cincinnati, you're in the Big Ten. You are a Power 5 school for once. You've been wanting it so bad you finally got it. Now you got the victory belt in your house. You got Miami of Ohio coming walking in there, and they beat you in overtime. 31-24. What happened to Cincinnati? This is not a good look for a team who just went into the Big 12. You lost the victory bell to Miami of Ohio. That's not good. That's not good. And then, good gracious, what happened to Stanford? Has Stanford fallen off the mount that much? Like literally, Sacramento State. That's what that is. I know a lot of y'all who's watching, y'all trying to figure out what school is that? That is Sacramento State. That's the team that went into Stanford and beat Stanford 30-23, a full touchdown. That's what that is. I had to look at it myself like this is literally what happened. Sacramento State went into Stanford and beat Stanford. And then Arizona State. Now we know about Fresno State. Someone who do pay attention to college football, we know about Fresno State, Mountain West. They got game. They could play. But 29-0. Sun Devils at home? 29-0. Tempe, Arizona. You couldn't score a point? a point. And we were glowing about the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is doing wonderful. They got like 8 teams ranked in the top 25. And USC and Oregon, UCLA, Utah, Colorado, Washington, they looking good. I mean, you even got Cal out here battling, battling neck and forward with Auburn, and you got Arizona who can turn the ball over 8 damn times, but they can only lose by like a field goal to Mississippi State in Starksville, Mississippi, by the way. And then Arizona State gets shut out by Fresno State. I know about Fresno State. Fresno State got some players. Fresno State can play some football, but 29 nothing? What? Don't. I'm gonna come back to Vanderbilt, and then you know what? I'm gonna come back to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma State because that's egregious. Okay, that's egregious right there. But yeah, I mean Cincinnati. That's not a good look. Your first year in the past a Power Five team. That is not good. And then Sacramento State. I mean, and then what make it even worse? Ever since the first quarter, y'all never had the lead. Y'all, Stanford never got the lead back. Stanford never got the lead back after leading the first quarter 7-3. Sacramento State led the rest of the way. This is a real indictment on the Cardinals. Like nothing. Like no points. No points from Arizona State. Like none at all. And then see, I was kind enough to leave Vanderbilt. Y'all look, I left y'all out, but y'all gave up 40 to UNLV. Go back. 40 to UNLV. 40. Y'all ain't an SEC. Y'all can't play. Y'all did y'all forget how to play defense? Did you forget what conference you represent? And you giving up 40 to UNLV? 40. I don't care the game is in Las Vegas or not. How the you giving up 40 damn points to a group of 5 team? 40. And then there is went too fast. Then there's Oklahoma State. Has Mike Gundy lost his team? Have we finally reached that point where Mike Gundy no longer needs to be the head coach of the Cowboys of Oklahoma State? Because South Alabama walked into Stillwater, Oklahoma, and whooped the Cowboys' ass. You can see the box score. They whooped the Cowboys' ass. 33-7. They was up 23 nothing at halftime. South Alabama whooped the Cowboys' ass up and down the field. Oh my goodness. What has happened to Mike Gundy and the Oklahoma State Cowboys? I don't understand. This is in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And you got your ass whooped by South Alabama. Mike Gundy, you have some questions to answer, sir. You definitely have some questions to answer because that right there is embarrassing for a Power 5 school like Oklahoma State to get embarrassed by a school like South Alabama. Good Lord have mercy. Somebody give me some answers from Stillwater, Oklahoma, please, because I need to know how in the hell does the Cowboys get their ass whooped like this? Oh my goodness, good gracious. Now, that's our surprising upsets. Now we get to our slate that we did last week. I have to admit, I am impressed. Missouri knocked off 15 ranked Kansas State. 61-yard field goal. I am impressed. Good job. Way to go, Missouri. You got one back for the SEC, even though Vanderbilt didn't help by giving up 40 points to UNLV. But good job, Missouri. Great win. You got one over the Big 12. Great win. It was a battle in the first half at first, down in Chapel Hill. But Drake May and the North Carolina Tar Heel, they took over in the second half, slowing down Warrior Boat Gophers of Minnesota 31-13. That's a good win. Of course, once the Mel Tucker story happened at Michigan State, we all knew what was gonna happen in this game. Like 41-7, it was supposed to happen, because as soon as the Mel Tucker story leaked out, it was all said and done. The backyard brawl between West Virginia and Pitt, low scoring affair, but the West Virginia defends home turf and takes it 17-6 to win the backyard brawl. Oh, it looked to be fun it looked fun at first, but TCU gave it to Houston after a while. After a while, TCU remember who they were, and they just welcomed Houston into the Big 12 the way they're supposed to have been welcomed in. Welcome to the Big 12. You're gonna take this 23-point ass whooping. Good job. Then game of the week, spotlight game of the week, took us to Gainesville, Florida, where the Volunteers ranked 11 took the trip to Gainesville, Florida, when they haven't won since, was it 2003? 2009, I forgot what year. But yet again, they still can't win at Gainesville. 10 in a row. 29-16, Florida over Tennessee. Did you see the second quarter? Did you see what the Gators did to them in the second quarter? 20-0. Just running the ball up and down. Trevor Etienne taking off. 23 carries, 172 yards on a touchdown. Graham Mertz looking calm and collected. The numbers ain't impressive, but 19 for 24, 166 yards in the touchdown. I mean, Milton had a terrible day. The stats might show he had a good day, but he had a terrible day. Trust me, he had some problems. All right, he had some problems. You can see the statistics right here. I mean, look at it. They just above 50% on third down conversions. 0 for 3 on fourth down. I mean, look at this. They barely ran the ball for 100 yards on 30 carries, 3.3 yards a carry. Florida ran for 183, and they were at 4.3 yards a carry, a whole yard per carry more than Tennessee. And then the real problem, the penalties for Tennessee. 10 penalties for 79 yards and a turnover. And they only had the ball for 22 minutes, 22 and a half minutes. 22 and a half minutes. That's Tennessee's possession. And it hurt them really bad. And Milton is sitting on the sideline looking crazy because you did sit here and say you don't lose in the state of Florida, right? That is what you said before the game. You don't lose leading into the game. You don't lose in the state of Florida. Well, you took your ass to games and you took a damn L. How about that? And it's a very impressive L at that, because we could have blew you out even further if we wanted to. But we had to lead, and guess what we did? We said we're gonna run the ball down your damn throat. You can't stop it. Guess what? You ain't gonna have too many opportunities to come back. And guess what? You didn't have many opportunities to come back because we kept running the ball down your goddamn throat. That's why ETN could have ran for 200 yards if he wanted to. That's how bad it was for Tennessee down in Gainesville for a 10th consecutive time, coming to Gainesville and taking a huge L. This time you was ranked 11. So, bye-bye. Bye bye. And then we have the extra point van vote, and the fans voted for BYU heading to Arkansas to take on the Razorbacks in SEC country. And I'm impressed with BYU. And I am disappointed in Arkansas, if I do say so myself. You see the numbers here. 38-31 win for the BYU Cougars in SEC country. KJ Jefferson struggled for the Razorbacks. They were doing good on the ground. The passing game wasn't there. It was just one of those days because Arkansas scored the first 2 points. They scored 14 straight. And you was like, oh, BYU's in trouble. Arkansas is rolling. And then before you knew it, BYU answered with 21 unanswered to take the lead. And then when you get to the third quarter, Arkansas regained a 10-point advantage at 31-21. And then BYU outscored you 17-0 the rest of the way. So BYU was down double digits twice. And they came back and still beat you. Arkansas, y'all are so disappointing right now. How y'all have two double digit leads, and you still lose the freaking game? I don't understand. I really don't. Nevertheless, here's where we at. I lost the Kansas State game because I did pick Kansas over Missouri. And then I did lose the fan extra. I did miss the extra point on Arkansas, but it is what it is. 5-1 in week 3 puts me at 12-6 overall, and I missed the extra point. The first time I missed the extra point, I had the first two right. I missed out on week 3 thanks to Arkansas, but hey, still got a ways to go. But I like where I'm at. 12 wins, 6 losses through 3 weeks. I like where I'm at. I like where I'm trending at right now. Week 1 was terrible, 3-3, 50%. Didn't like that. Came back week 2, 4-2, and came back in this past week 3, 5-1. So I like where I'm at right now. I like where I'm trending at right now. Well, now before we go to our second commercial break, here is your top 25 going into week 4. Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Texas number 3, Florida State 4, USC 5, Ohio State 6, Penn State 7, Washington 8, Notre Dame 9, Oregon rounding out the top 10. 11 is Utah, 12 LSU, 13 Alabama, which is the first time in a long time Alabama has not been in the top 10. They are ranked 13. That is crazy to believe that. 14 is Oregon State, 15 is Ole Miss, Oklahoma coming in at 16, North Carolina 17, Duke 18, Colorado 19, Miami in the top 20. 21 is Washington State, 22 is UCLA, 23 is Tennessee after that loss to Florida. 24 is Iowa, and the aforementioned Florida is in the top 25 at 25. Now, I'm happy that they didn't do what they did last year, because when we beat Utah and when they was ranked 7, they jumped us ahead of Kentucky right before we played Kentucky. So I'm happy they took it easy this time and they said, okay, y'all can get in, but y'all gonna be at the bottom. Y'all gonna be at 25. I'm cool with that ranking for the Florida Gators. I'm cool with it. We in the top 25. We at 25. I can handle that. That will do it for the you know gridiron roundup. When we come back, we gotta go on the campus tour, because it is week 4, and week 4 is oh so juicy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Into the Net FC.
Kylian Mbappe just all of a sudden finally understood his role, and I think he finally understood that everything Kylian Mbappe has accomplished already, there is still a hell of a lot waiting for him in the future. Kylian Mbappe is only 24 years old. He has accomplished so much, and you know what? Kylian Mbappe has not even reached his prime. Finally seeing, the Marcus Rashford we have been hoping for such a long time, But, this game, after everything Manchester United has been, doing lately, this was actually the ultimate test, to see if Manchester United, honestly was all of a sudden for real.
I explained this. The United States, maybe they have to suffer this loss as a lesson to learn to prepare for the future. Because 4 years from now, the World Cup is in not 1, not 2, but 3 countries. The United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. Into the Net FC is available on all streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and YouTube.
And welcome back to Bearing Down and Gridiron on this live edition on September 20th, 2023. Sorry, I didn't say this after I played the first commercial, but Paramount Plus, today's the last day to get half off, 50% off on 1 year subscription. You will get to pay $2.50 for a whole year with Paramount Plus using the promo code sports. Hopefully you seen it at the bottom of the second one on the last segment that we did. But Paramount Plus, use the promo code sports, and you will pay $2.50 a month for a whole year with Paramount Plus. Don't miss out on that, okay? Now that we are back, week 4. Oh boy, week 4 is good. So you just go ahead and get to it. And to kick things off, noon Eastern, 12 p.m., ESPN, we go to Death Valley. We go to Clemson, South Carolina. The 4th-ranked Seminoles of Florida State take on the Clemson Tigers. Now, this is a very, very important game here, because number one, I, for one, picked Clemson to win the ACC yet again for the 9th time in 10 years. Secondly, My Florida State fans out there, and I can't stand y'all. I really can't. But if Florida State is back, if Florida State is truly back, they win this game. It's not a primetime game. It's not a night game. It's a noon game, which should be in favor of Florida State. But if Florida State is officially back with Mike Noel as the head coach, they will go in there and they will beat Dabo Swinney. I don't care if it's about 1 point. I don't care if it's about 200 points. But if Florida State wants to claim that they are officially back and deserving of the top 5 ranking, they go into South Carolina, they go into Clemson, they go into Death Valley, and they come out victorious. That's it. If they do not come out of Death Valley victorious, Florida State is not officially back. For Florida State to be officially back, they must beat Clemson. And there's no better way to do it in Clemson's house at Death Valley, noon Eastern, ESPN. From Death Valley in South Carolina, we're going to take the trip out to the West Coast, to Salt Lake City, Utah, because the Pac-12 is taking over. 3:30 on Fox. 22nd ranked UCLA Bruins, 11th ranked Utah Utes. Ooh. Now, last year when they had this battle, it was a little later in the year, and the winner of this battle was going to the Pac-12 championship. Utah won that match. Utah wins in the Pac-12 championship, and they end up handing in USC for a second time again. This time it's an earlier matchup. Can Chip Kelly and the Bruins, can they reverse what happened last year, but on the road? Because if they can handle, if they can get a win in Salt Lake City, which is not an easy place to win it, by the way, they be setting themselves up for a real shot at a run at the Pac-12 title. But the reigning defending 2-time Pac-12 champions ain't trying to hear it. Now, we still don't know when Cam Rising will be back for the Utah Utes. He could be back for this game, but it could be rolling with their backup still. But that's a tough team to beat in that environment in Salt Lake City. I'm looking forward to that game. Can Chip Kelly get a much-needed signature win? Chip Kelly, he's winning at UCLA, but he's missing the signature. Chip Kelly at UCLA is missing that signature win. This will be a signature win for Chip Kelly and the UCLA Bruins if they can go into Salt Lake City and knock off the Utah Utes, who are the reigning defending back-to-back Pac-12 champions. 3:30, okay? And that 3:30 slot is nice because this is the first game of the slate that's in the 3:30 slot. The second game is in the 3:30 slot. Takes us to the SEC from Salt Lake City to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, because it is Lane Kiffin versus Nick Saban one more time. The SEC on CBS 3:30. The reigning Rebels of Ole Miss taking on Alabama Crimson Tide. We talked about it earlier when our 2-minute warning, on our 2-minute drill, when Jalen Merrill will be the starting quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide against one of the top scoring teams in the damn country of Ole Miss. And Ole Miss has always been a top team scoring. Why? Because Lane Kiffin loves to put points on the damn board quick, fast, in a hurry. Now, this is where I need to look at some numbers here because I really want to understand what is Nick Saban dealing with, because Texas walked in there and they dropped 34 on you. I'm pretty sure that Lane Kiffin is averaging more than 34 points a game this season through 3 weeks. I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure this man is averaging more than 34. So let me make sure I get my numbers right here because this is a big game. Matter of fact, Alabama is actually favored by 6.5 points. So people still believing in Nick Saban in Alabama right now. They have a 66% chance, according to ESPN Analytics, so Alabama winning this game to Ole Miss is 34%. Okay. I'm looking at it here. Total yards. Ole Miss is averaging 526 yards a game. 526. Alabama's averaging 367. That is ridiculous. That's total yards. Passing wise, Ole Miss is throwing for damn near 350 to Alabama's 196. Both teams rushing about the same, 177 for Ole Miss, 171 for Alabama. The defense for Ole Miss is giving up 350 a game. Alabama's giving up 310 a game. Good gracious. Oh my goodness. Let me look at Ole Miss. So through 3 games with Ole Miss, they have put up 73, 37, and 48. Now the competition ain't been there. You talking about Mercer, Tulane, which is a good win. That's at Tulane. That is the American champions from last year. And then Georgia Tech. Yeah. Either Nick Saban gonna get that defense right for this game and not lose twice in a row at home, which that's Nick Saban. Can anybody look up and see if Nick Saban has lost 2 games at home in one season? I don't think I've ever seen that from Nick Saban. Losing 2 games at home and in one season. I don't think I've never seen that. But somebody looked it up for me. So this is gonna be interesting. Nick Saban and Alabama, they have to win this game because if they lose this game, they're done. It is over. Because you still got Auburn, you still got LSU on the schedule. So you're done if you lose in Ole Miss, okay? You're done. From Tuscaloosa, Alabama, all the way up to Eugene, Oregon. Oh, gonna be so many eyes on this game. 3:30 ABC. Woo! Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes taking on Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks. Eugene, Oregon's gonna be electric. Eugene, Oregon's gonna be off real, and that is a 12:30 kickoff Pacific time out there in Eugene, Oregon. 3:30 Eastern Standard Time here on the East Coast. Oh, we gonna find out if Coach Prime got the players that he need to be a contender in this sport Saturday afternoon, or does Oregon do what Oregon does in big games and say, "Hey, you're a good team. I like what you're doing, but you're in our house, and when you're in our house, you better bring your A game because if you don't, you're gonna get your ass whooped." And I want to see, to be honest, I want to see what uniform Oregon, because Oregon got like 500 billion different uniform combinations. I want to see what Oregon gonna wear, just to be curious, because Oregon like to look good, and Coach Fine's the one you feel good when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you play good. So I want to see what Oregon gonna look like. Okay, because I want to see what swag Oregon gonna come in the game with at home. Because that's Coach. You got Coach Prime coming in, so you got to look good if you're Oregon, all right? Yeah, you gotta look good so you can feel good, and you gonna go out there and play. Well, you gonna play good anyway because you the Oregon Ducks. I have no doubt you the Oregon Ducks. You gonna play good anyway. But what you gonna look like? What did the uniform combination gonna look like? Coach, you gonna have Coach Prime like, ooh, them boys looking sweet over there. And Coach Prime like, hey, y'all just gonna have to play. It is what it is at this point. This is big boy football now, and Coach Frank gonna have to let him know it's big boy football now. You got Oregon this week, you got USC next week. It's big boy football now, so there's gonna be a lot of people rooting for Coach Frank in Colorado to put out the upset, and there's gonna be a lot of people on the other side wait for Oregon to shut the whole story about Colorado. When it's gonna happen, we shall see. 3:30 ABC. Do not miss that game. And then from Eugene, Oregon, we jump into prime time as in the Big Ten on CBS. It is number 7, the Penn State Nittany Lions at home in College Station, hosting 24th ranked Iowa. We know Michigan's the favorite to win the Big Ten. We know Ohio State has something to say about it. The other team that has something to say about who wins the Big Ten is the Penn State Nittany Lions. Battle of unbeaten teams here, battle of ranked teams here at College Station up in Pennsylvania, Happy Valley, as they call it. If Penn State want to be taken serious, as they should be, you handle business at home against Iowa, and Iowa gonna play some damn defense. One thing we know, Iowa gonna play some damn defense, so it's gonna be we gonna see. And people are saying that Penn State has the top offense in the country right now. Some people are saying Penn State's the best team in the country right now. 86% is on the Penn State Nittany Lions to only 13 for Iowa. They looking at this as it's gonna be some things because Iowa been putting up some points. I mean, they won 24-14 over Utah State, 20-13 in the Cyhawk Trophy, and then last one when they played Western Michigan, they put up 41. When the last time you seen an Iowa team put up 41? Okay, but hey, if Penn State wants to be that third team that has a say in the Big Ten East and the Big Ten as a whole, you handle business at home against 21 or 24th ranked Iowa, and it's on CBS, and you win prime time. Okay. Prime time. All right. Now we got that out of the way. But that's not the game of the week. That's not the spotlight game of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to South Bend, Indiana. College game day is going to be there. It is prime time, 7:30, NBC. Number 9, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, hosting number 6, the Buckeyes of the Ohio State. Woo-hoo-hoo. Sam Hartman has been a difference maker for the Notre Dame. This offense has been juicy for Notre Dame. But did last week help Ohio State by the fact they had to play Western Kentucky? And there was some talks about Western Kentucky putting up some points on Ohio State. Did that wake them up because they whooped Western Kentucky 63-10, and that offense got going against Western Kentucky? I mean, literally, it was no comparison whatsoever. Like if I look at the Ohio State numbers from that game, Kyle McCord, 19 for 23, 318, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. Travion Henderson, 13 carries, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 catches, 126 yards and a touchdown. Was that week enough to get that team on track? Because you are playing Notre Dame, and Notre Dame has been balling. Okay, Notre Dame has been balling. They took on the NC State Wolfpack, a team that's known for defense in the ACC, and they hung 45 on them. 45, okay? Sam Hartman is out here balling on these boys. Sam Hartman has already thrown for over 1,000 yards with 13 touchdowns and no interceptions. He has not thrown one interception. It's time they running back has over 500 yards carried with 5 touchdowns. This is a top 10 matchup in prime time, by the way. NBC, it's gonna be locked and loaded. Somebody gonna take their first L of the season, and it's gonna be a huge L because we know how the committee is. A big game like this, you gotta show me who you are, and we're gonna find out if Ohio State is back to being Ohio State or Notre Dame is back to being Notre Dame. Somebody gonna make the first statement, and it's gonna be right here in South Bend. Ohio State or Notre Dame. That is a juicy matchup, and that is the game of the week. Okay, and then we have the fan votes extra point game. And yet again, it involves BYU. This time, we going to Big 12 action. BYU first Big 12 matchup. It's an undefeated matchup with 3-0 Kansas and Lawrence, Kansas. And as of right now, looking at the ESPN analytics, 56.5 for Kansas Jayhawks to 43.5 for the BYU Cougars. We shall see how that goes. Both teams are 3-0. Both teams are doing good. BYU is averaging 310 yards on offense to 500 yards of Kansas. Kansas is averaging 500 yards of offense. Oh my gosh. We're talking 283 in the air and 216 on the ground. These boys are running the damn ball. Oh my gosh. Defensive wise, we talking BYU is giving up 318 a game and Kansas is giving up 272 a game. I mean, yo, my goodness, what is going on here? Now, we already talked about the big win for BYU going in the SEC country against Arkansas and getting that W. Let's look at, Illinois is a good win for Kansas, 34-23. They played Nevada 34-21. So each team gotta have one good, Power 5 win against the other. But this is the Big 12 now. Kansas is welcoming BYU to the Big 12. We're gonna see what BYU look like going into this game. Now, before we get to my picks, we're gonna take another quick break here, and then when we come back, we'll get to my picks.
The Playmakerz Law is sponsored by Lids, Locker Rooms by Lids. Shop hats and official sports gear at Lids. Lids, the leader and #1 destination for hats, gears, and everything that moves you. Make it a perfect shop for fans to find official sports hats, merchandise, and gears. Represent your team, your town, and your style with a snapback, adjustable, fitted hat, or beanie from thousands of college and professional teams. Browse the very latest jerseys and t-shirts for the best teams out there. Liz has officially licensed professional and college sports teams apparel and hats featuring the hottest brands and trends. Shop online or visit one of the 100 stores across the country. Locker Rooms by Liz.
Pain Train Pipe Bomb Productions and the Playmakerz blog are now both partnered with Fanatics. Fanatics is now your new home for all fan merchandise. From the MLB, the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, MLS, NASCAR, WWE, international soccer leagues, and golf. Check out the links below for everyday deals on Fanatics.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bear Down and Gridiron. Yep, you saw Fanatics and you saw Liz, another couple of sponsors for Bear Down and Gridiron and the Playmakerz blog. Good to have those on board with us today. Now, we got through everything, on one thing left. Y'all need my picks for the week, right? Y'all need my picks, so let's get to it. It is the Bear Down Picks as we close out shop today. And to begin, I'm going Clemson at home to take down Florida State. I don't think Florida State is back yet. I don't think they back yet. I refuse to believe they're back yet. Now, if they win this game, I will come on here next week and I would say Florida State is back if they come into Clemson and beat Clemson. But until then, I'm taking Clemson to win this game. All right. Game number 2. Give me the Utah used to defend home turf, okay? It's hard to win in Salt Lake. That crowd gonna be rocking. That crowd's gonna be hyped. UCLA gonna have a hard time hearing. I'm taking Utah. I'm sorry, Chip Kelly, but I don't think you can get that signature win yet. I just don't think you can get it yet. Give me Utah. The one that y'all waiting for. I'm doing something I have never done before. I have never picked against Alabama at home. I have never done it. But with the fact that Alabama don't know what to do at quarterback, Nick Saban is literally confused at quarterback. He has no idea what to do at quarterback. His defense got picked apart by Texas. And the team that has a better offense and Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss is coming in. I'm doing something I have never done. I am picking Ole Miss. I am picking Alabama to lose 2 home games in the same season and within 3 weeks of each other. I'm sorry. I am picking Ole Miss and Lincoln to finally get a win over Nick Saban. The other game that y'all waiting on for me to pick. Quack, quack. I'm sorry, Coach Brown. I'm sorry. But if I'm being completely honest, if I'm being completely real, I got to go with Oregon, man. Eugene, Oregon. That place is it's like the hardest place to win it in the Pac-12 outside of Salt Lake City for the Utah Utes. It is Oregon. I don't think y'all can handle that. I think that's a different type of person that y'all finna deal with Saturday afternoon in Eugene. I don't think y'all ready for that spotlight yet. I think y'all get a feel for it, and then next year y'all respond in kind. But this year, I don't see y'all winning in Eugene, Oregon. I just don't see it, Coach Brown. I'm sorry, but I'm picking Oregon. I'm going with the Oregon Ducks. I'm going Penn State, man. I was doing good this year. They look good. They feel good, but I don't think they have what it takes to go into Happy Valley and take down the Penn State Lithium Lions. And plus, Penn State they have to show that they're the third team to be considered to win to win the Big Ten outside of Ohio State and Michigan, who are like the favorites to run away with it. Penn State needs a statement win. This is a good way to get a statement win with a 24th ranked Iowa Hawkeyes walking in, and you handle business. All right. In the game of the week, ladies and gentlemen, give me the Notre Dame 49ers. The fact they have a quarterback in Sam Hartman, the fact they have a running game still, the fact that he can connect with wide receivers and tight ends the way Sam Hartman does, might be problematic for the Ohio State defense. And I think it'd be problematic just enough to outshoot the Buckeyes in South Bend at home. Notre Dame defends home turf. Ohio State suffers that first loss of the season. It's going to be a hard one for them because they usually beat Notre Dame, but I don't think they're going to beat Notre Dame this year. I love that offense with Sam Hartman in control. This man has not turned the ball over. He is very good with the ball, and he knows how to sling it all across the field. Give me Notre Dame to win that one. And then finally, for the extra point fan photo game, y'all gave me BYU and Kansas. Even though I read the statistics to you, I think BYU finds a way. I'm going on a limb here. I think BYU finds a way to walk into Lawrence, Kansas. They find a way to slow down that high-powered offense, and they always do just enough. Just enough. The offense is not really thriving like that, okay? But they do just enough to walking themselves into the Big 12 with a nice big victory in Lawrence, Kansas to take down the Jayhawks. Now I could be absolutely wrong here because everybody else is on Kansas, and rightfully so. I mean, 500 yards of offense, good gracious. But I just got a feeling BYU finds a way to pull this one out, and they send a message to the Big 12 like, "This is real. We are here when we are here to stay." So those are my picks. Again, I'm going Clemson over Florida State. I'm going Utah over UCLA. I'm going Ole Miss to walk into Tuscaloosa and beat the Alabama Crimson Tide, which is ridiculous on my part for picking Nick Saban to lose 2 games and both of them at home. I know it's ridiculous on my part, but I'm doing it. I'm going Oregon to slow down the talk of the town, which is the Colorado Buffaloes. Unfortunately, I love Coach Prime, but if I'm being realistic, I don't see y'all going to Oregon and winning that game. Okay. I'm taking Penn State to handle business at home against the Iowa Hawkeyes in a ranked versus ranked Big Ten matchup. Game of the week, give me Notre Dame to get one over on the Buckeyes of Ohio State, and then surprisingly, I'm taking BYU over Kansas. All right, those are my picks. That is the fair down. And that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you guys for tuning in on today on this live edition of Bearing Down and Gridiron. We got through it all. We got through the 2-minute drill. Of course, we had to talk about what happened to Travis Hunter and Henry Blackman getting death threats. Stop sending death threats. Young man doesn't receive death threats. He doesn't deserve that, okay? Let him go on, move on with his life, continue to play game. Travis Hunter will be back in 3 weeks after the Arizona State game. We'll see what Colorado does this week against Oregon, next week against UCLA, and we'll go from there. Surprising upsets took place. I mean, when you get shut out at home to a Group 5 school, there's some questions to be asked if you're Arizona State. And then even more questions need to be asked if you're Mike Gundy in the Oklahoma State. Because how you get beat 33-7 by South Alabama? Like, some questions need to be answers on that part. Nevertheless, campus tour, enjoy. To this week coming up, it's a juicy week. Week 4 gonna provide a lot of answers for a lot of people. Alabama, Florida State, Clemson, Colorado, Oregon, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Penn State. There's a lot of teams in the top that's ranked. They're going to get some questions answered this week about how they play and what the result was. So outside of that, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Those of you who watched on Facebook, YouTube, X, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and LinkedIn. All right. The audio will be available shortly after this on all podcast directories. You want to go back and listen to the audio version of it if you like driving something like that. And continue to support us. Continue to do what you do, being a great fan base and all that. Tomorrow, Ramley Talk. Gonna recap the San Francisco game. Unfortunately, that went the way that I thought it was gonna go. And then we're gonna preview Monday Night Football with the Rams heading to the jungle to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Where Joe Burrow played, we should find out. But until then, have a great Wednesday. Enjoy it. This the Playmaker sign off. Deuces. All right. You just experienced Bearing Down and Gridiron, hosted by Donnell, the Playmaker Silence, in collaboration with Arch Football. Bear Down and Gridiron is sponsored by Lids, Fanatics, and Paramount Plus. If you enjoyed today's show and would like to make a donation, you can donate via Cash App at $the Playmakers at $the Playmakers. Remember, Bearing Down and Gridiron is available on all podcast directories, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. And for Apple Podcast lovers, leave us a rating review. Let us know what you enjoy about today's episode that you're listening to. Tune in again next time for more Bearing Down the Gridiron, hosted by the Playmaker.